I'm gonna be honest with you guys. You know that last video I did, with my blue hair and everything. Everything was so suddenly and fine. But after I say that, I go to sleep. Like how all normal people are. Like everybody goes to sleep at night. Especially around my country is. Well, of course everybody goes to sleep in their timeline. You know what I mean. Not timeline, but you guys know what I mean. Like time. Cannot think of the words. You guys probably understand. But anyways. After I made that blue hair color video, I suddenly got a very strange dream, and I chose to make a video about it and see if talking about it can help me. The strange did start as usually everything is faint when you go to sleep. Of course, when your eyes are closed, you see only black. Of course, that was just normal. But I at first it was just seeming like a normal dream. At first, it was like I woke up. It was like in my dream I was waking up, walking out of my room, like a normal morning. I looked outside in the mirror. Well, not in the mirror, in the window. Looked down the window, I seen my grandpa was out. I was guessing he went to work. So I chose to go and change my clothes on, And, in the dream I would do that. Then, I chose to change clothes. Then suddenly I heard a car coming, I heard a door slam. Like a car door slam. And, I heard it and I stepped outside, and my cousin was there, and he was walking out of the car, and he didn't alert me or anything. He didn't text me. I didn't really question why he would come so suddenly, but I just moved on with it, and I allowed him inside, and me and him just did what we would normally do. We would always we would play Call of Duty, or do stupid stuff with our imagination. We would always in imagination, we're just stupid. We would always talk differently or act as characters that we created or something like that, or talk like anime characters. It's stupid, but in the dream we did that. It sounds like a normal dream, right? Well, there was one time when me and him went out biking. I have a pair of bikes in my house. I would ride one, and when Preston's over, which is my cousin, he would usually ride with me. We just chose to ride around and just act as kids as we usually would. Just ride around, and then we promised our grandmother that we would come back. Then we led ourselves into some woods in the dream, right? And we were both, of course, at the time in the dream, I just chose to. I didn't want to go into the woods, but in the inside I didn't want to, but in the outside I have a weird habit of, like, the inside, I don't want to do something, but outside, I say I will. So, me and Preston went inside the woods with our bikes. Well, we set him down, like, right out to the woods, so that when we come back to my house. So, we went inside, we walked around, and then it started to become creepy. Like we were just surrounded by trees, and like surrounded by like ginormous trees, and like I would look up, and to me it looked like the trees were so high it would touch the sky, but Preston didn't really mind it. I didn't either, but I just looked up and just looked at trees, looked around in my environment, and it didn't seem that terrifying or anything. I would always try to listen to my surroundings sometimes, in case if we hear something and we don't want to get in trouble. Because, you know, me and Preston are just little teens. Like, we just do what we really feel like doing, and we just get out of there and just don't tell our grandparents. I know it's a weird habit, but a lot of kids these days do it. So we stayed in the woods for a little while. We kept on walking around but we tried not to go too deep, so we don't get lost. Till all of a sudden it got really weird. Me and Preston was wanting to split up. Preston mostly. He was like, we should split up and try to find some ground and we can join back together. I didn't really want to. I literally told him in a dream that it was a stupid idea. Because if we do, literally the woods was just trees, and like we could easily get stuck there like a cornfield. That's what I used as a metaphor. Then suddenly I afar see a cabin. It's not like from a cabin in the woods or anything. It's not what I'm coming from, but I mean, personally, out of the dream, I'd never seen cabin in the woods. So we just kept on going through the woods, and we kept on seeing trees and trees, and me and Preston kept going deeper and deeper without noticing how deep we went. Then we as far seen a cabin, and kind of frightened me a little bit. But Preston had the insane idea of wanting to go in, or wanted to do a ding dong ditch or something. But I told him it was a stupid idea and we should head back. Preston agreed, and we started trying to walk back, and both of our memories just instantly faded. We didn't remember how we got there. We didn't remember the way back. We were just stuck in the woods for that while. Then we just kept on walking and walking. Then Preston started wanting to run. I ran after him, because usually Preston is faster than me. So I tried to keep up with him. Till he started looking like he was going far too fast, and I was telling him to wait for me. But he didn't come back. He didn't stop for me. He just kept going. I was trying to find him and tell him that I cannot keep up with him. I don't know where he is. Then I kept on looking around. I kept on hearing Preston in a way of saying, "Come on, this way. Come on, this way. Come on, this way, Ethan. Why are you standing there? Let's go." Kept on hearing his voice saying that. It was in different directions. I didn't know where to go. Then I would go in a certain direction at first, to where I thought it sounded like Preston. Then I go in that direction until I heard the same thing in the other direction. It's this way. It's this way. It really all trying to kind of driven me insane. Until I looked back, and the cabin that we saw looked a lot closer than I thought it was. I thought I was losing my mind because there was no way that we accidentally moved back besides forward. So I kept moving forward and hoping to find Preston at least where the bikes was. Hoping nobody stole it. So I kept on getting lost and trying to call out for Preston. Preston, this is not funny. Come out and help me. I cannot find you. I would always call out and kept on calling him out every few minutes. Kept on hearing Preston say, "Over here." It would scare me a little bit because his teen voice, it's not high pitched or anything, but it really did make me feel like unsettling. That's what I could say. It's unsettling. I mean, kept on hearing him in different directions, but I kept on saying, "It's not funny. You had to go. You had to go. You had to go back to the bikes so we can head back." Until I just started feeling a weird presence around me. Then I looked back again, and the cabin was closer and closer. It was more like the more farther I tried to go from the cabin, the closer it went. I didn't really know what to do, so I just stayed still and kept on calling for Preston. Kept on calling for him, and then I looked into a tree. Not into it, but like behind it, I seen like a shadow that looked like Preston. But I go over to the tree, and there was nothing there. It started to really scare me. But until the weird part of it happens. I keep hearing Preston calling out for me, but his voice starts sounding a lot different than usual. It starts sounding like a little girl. Not saying that Preston was a little girl turning into one. It's not like that. I mean, kept on hearing like a little girl. Like, it's because it would scare me because I would have little sisters. I have two new little sisters. One is 1 year old and one is a couple months old. So sometimes little girls would scare me. But the dream was starting to turn into a nightmare, which I didn't really like. Started hearing little girl laughing in the distance. Started fading into going louder and louder every few minutes. Every few minutes I was trying to get out, I'd always hear them go louder and louder. It would scare me until I started seeing little girls like hiding within trees, like behind them. Like it was like looking at me into a distance, like narrating me. Like I would go past it, and it would still hide, but it was still watching me. So I started running and darting to the direction I thought it would be. So I kept on going and going until I stopped because I was running out of breath, and then I looked back. The cabin was right behind me. It was freaking me out.